Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Am I coming through okay?
Yeah, yeah. Everything's
Oh, cool.
good.
Oh,
Can
this
you
is
hear?
so cool. I think I want to start using this. This is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's fun and it enables me to be lazy. Like I don't have time. Well, I mean, I have time now, but I mean, normally I don't have time to just edit and do all the things and video and whatnot.
Yeah, no, this makes sense.
So, how's your day going?
Pretty good. I got up early because I'm bougie and I have a laundry lady that comes and picks up. But she has to pick up really early, which is crazy. Like she came at like 8:30, so I woke up at 8 after getting home at like 4. So I'm like,
Oh my
and then I
God.
like dilly down a little bit, and I'm like, I'll just wait till after the podcast and I'll take a nap before work tonight. So
Oh, well, thank you. I feel bad. I'm depriving you from sleep.
no, don't feel bad. I'm excited about this. And then of course she's going to drop off tomorrow at 8:30 after my gig tonight. So
Oh my
thank God
God.
I'm off tomorrow. So it'll be a. I mean, I don't work tonight till 9, so I'm fine.
Yeah, that's not bad. And you have a chance to actually, get some decent sleep.
Yeah, I can get a couple hours.
Nice. Um, yeah. So I feel like I'm talking to Madonna royalty.
Yeah, me and Michelle, we call each people call us the Godmother and the Godfather. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's true. I talked to her on the phone for the first time a couple weeks ago, when I was
And
in
her
Cleveland.
crazy Brooklyn accent.
No, her accent wasn't that crazy. We wound up meeting up with Three, and she's
Uh,
got an accent.
oh, she has a Long Island accent. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I talked to Michelle because she was Suri was in the bar on the phone with Michelle and she's like, "Here, talk to Michelle." I'm like, "Okay." Why are you going to Cleveland? I'm like, "'Cause Madonna's there." So, and it was like 2 days before my birthday, so we met up with Suri at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and went out to dinner, went out for drinks, and then went to the show.
That's awesome. Were you guys in the pit?
She was in the pit. I got last minute tickets for me and my friends, so we were like, I think section 103. So we weren't like, it was nice actually because it was far enough back where we could see everything.
Yeah, no, I sat in the hundredths area. I think my third show, and it was great.
Yeah, it was perfect because we were like right dead center, so like we could just see all of it. Because Atlanta on April 1st, I'll be in the pit, and so like I've seen videos and like I don't think and it's great to be that close, but also like you see less.
It's a completely different experience. Like I don't know. Did you go to MDNA? Were you in the Golden Triangle at all?
I was, thanks to my tattoos.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Very cool. Um, that was like it was weird to see like behind her and see what she sees.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That was really
I know
cool about that experience. I was in the Golden Triangle twice, luckily, and just the idea that like when she was in the front of the stage, how
hmm
you see the audience, how she sees the audience, and that was really exciting about that. And I must say, like I was in the pit the last MSG show, and it was great, like because we knew where to, like it wasn't our first show, so we knew where to go to see everything. But
hmm
and as exciting as it is, like we got doused with the beer bottle and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. What do
As
they call it? The
exciting as
baptismal corner or
yeah,
whatever?
as exciting as that was, like
Yeah.
the rest of it was like if I hadn't seen the show before, I kind of would have been a little like distraught because I would have been like, "Oh my God, what am I supposed to look at?" But I knew where to look.
Right.
I knew
Right.
where to go. We knew we would all migrate to the area that she was going to be at. So
Yeah.
like it's definitely not good for your first time. I like because my
Yeah.
my first show I was right by the cube. Right,
Okay.
like the cube was like two seat like a couple like 4 seats in front of me. So that was exciting because I saw everything from like center, but down below. And then my second show, I had the best seats I've had ever in my entire life with her. It was at Barclays, and it was on the like if you're looking at the stage, it was on the left side, and literally the way Barclays was set up, like I could have shaken her hand. That's how close we were.
Oh my
So
God.
it was like front row, but the side because that's where she does open your heart. That's where she does,
Oh.
when she walks down for Vogue. And there was one
Yeah.
point there's a video of me going nuts throwing into the groove, but somebody filmed it and said like, "Oh my God, Chauncey, we found you in this video." But then
Oh.
um, like I'm pretty sure she's like I said I love you, and she stuck her tongue out at me. I'm pretty sure she stuck her tongue out at me. I'm hoping she stuck her tongue out at me.
She probably did.
But that was a great spot, and I actually bought that ticket on the way to the venue.
Oh my
I
God.
a bunch of my friends were in the pit, like the whole crew was in the pit on the other side.
Yeah.
The one sound factory is on the left side, but the right side is Jazzateria.
Yeah.
And I tried to get tickets for the pit, but I waited too long, and the tickets were dropping and dropping and dropping. And then I got in the shower. When I got out of the shower and I went to go buy them, they were sold. So I was like, oh no. So I was already late. So I got into a car to Brooklyn. And on the way there, I found a $300 ticket for the side where I was talking about. And
Hmm.
it was through Vivid Seats. So it takes a little while to process. And I was like, oh my God, did I do this wrong? And
Yeah.
I asked everybody I knew because I had a single ticket in like the hundreds on
Hmm.
the right side. And I was like,
Yeah.
I asked everybody I knew, do you want, but nobody could go, or nobody wanted to go alone, or people already had stuff that they were doing. I was like, I can't believe I can't give away a Madonna ticket right now.
Right.
And then luckily, I mean, I still didn't give it to anybody, but that ticket was cheaper than the far away seat,
Yeah.
and
I
it
know
was
that's
like
crazy because
the best experience ever.
in Cleveland, the 100 section, I paid like 300 each for the two. And I'm like, and I thought about that. I was like, well, but I was traveling, so I didn't want to chance and be like, and I was going, to hang out with my friend, and it was her birthday that week as well. So it's like it wouldn't have mattered. But I'm like, I really wanted to see her for my birthday, even though it wasn't on actual. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, I really thought about waiting, but I was like, if I wait too long, there's not going to be anything.
Yeah, but what was crazy is a lot of the New York shows, they released tickets like the day of, and they were really
That's
cheap too.
that's crazy.
So
Yeah,
if
I tell a lot of people to do that. I'm just like, if because people are like, I don't know. I'm like, just wait till the day of and get a ticket.
yeah, I mean, if she ever does a big tour again, I'm definitely getting like one ticket early, and then the other two shows or the other three shows, I'm gonna wait till the day of. Because if I don't go, I don't go. But it's like I'd rather get like $150 seat than an
Oh yeah,
$800 seat that cost 100, like 300 the day of, but I pay
right.
800.
Yeah.
But I think that's why a lot
Now,
of concerts aren't selling out right away anymore, because those resellers jack up the prices, and then
yeah,
people know that happens where the prices drop. So I'll just wait till the week of. So
yeah.
concerts aren't selling out like they used to.
I know. It's still there was like I got the day of. I guess like was it a year ago? Whenever they
Yeah.
released the tour dates, that was crazy because I had my boss was on one end trying to get tickets for him and his partner. My friend Jen was on the other end trying to get tickets for us, and it's just like everybody kept texting me and it was stressful, and I was like, I felt bad because I wasn't like doing anything, but I was just trying to like help and like be like, hey, it's cool, just hang in. But it's just like the moment that tickets go on sale is just like a very feverish uh
Yeah.
production.
Everybody's trying to get the code, and everybody's trying to get. It's really fun. It was really tense and crazy. My friend Eric, who used to live in New York, he moved back to North Carolina for work, and we went to two of the MSG shows together,
Hmm.
and we bought those tickets like the first, during the pre-sale, and he bought the expensive ones on the second night, and I bought the cheap ones on the first night, and then we just split the cost. Um,
Yeah,
but he was like freaking out. We freaked out about all that, and then it was just it's kind of frustrating because you spend a lot of money, and then you find out the day of that somebody got a ticket for like a third of the price. You're like, damn it.
yeah,
But
yeah.
he just splurged like a week ago. He called me and he's like, well, I'm going to see her in Denver. And he's coming to see her in Denver. And then he's like, Chauncey, do you want to go to Austin? There's like pit tickets available in Austin. I'm like, oh no. I'm like, okay, I guess so. I go, he did some plan where like we don't have to pay it off right away. So, but I was like, oh God. So the cool thing is like my Madonna, like my plan was originally I had tickets for Denver, Vegas, and I think it was just Denver and Vegas at first.
Mhm.
And I was like, let me see if I could do, because I do my Madonna worship party. And I was like, let me see if I could do a party at all these places. And this was back when the original dates were there. So
Yeah.
I tried and I tried and I tried, and like Vegas, no, none of the venues reached out to me. We tried to do one in where else do I have tickets for? Well, now I have tickets in Austin, but I'm doing a party in Denver. It's
Mhm.
the day of the concert on the 19th of March, like a pregame type thing at this place called Trade, and then um, it's like a fetish bar, something like that. So it'll be kind of fun. And then now that I'm doing Austin, I'm like, I'm working on doing an Austin party. But my friend Steven, big Madonna fan, I know him through the Madonna fan community. Um,
Mhm.
but he used to live in Astoria, New York, where I live. But he moved down to Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
We're very close to finding a venue to do. She's doing April 6th, 7th, and 9th, Saturday, Sunday, and Tuesday. And we're
Yeah.
working on a party for the Friday night before all the shows. That's very close to being finalized.
Yeah.
And then Houston, I went to Houston for Pride last year because they did a Stonewall takeover. I work with the Stonewall Inn in Manhattan.
Mhm.
And they brought two bartenders, me as the DJ, and we have a Miss Stonewall pageant every year. And the person who won Miss Stonewall, literally the Sunday before we left on a Tuesday. That was part of their prize that they got flown down to Houston to represent Stonewall at this bar in Texas in Houston. So, but
Mhm.
I've been friends with the girl who brought us down. Like she used to live in New York as well, so that's how we knew each other. So she made this awesome thing happen where they had all kinds of press and all kinds of stuff, and like they totally like did like a menu that represented New York. Like there was a chopped cheese, there was a chicken parm sandwich, and it was really cool. They did a really good job. It was like a restaurant bar, and then
Nice.
she's bringing me down to Houston at the end of March to do a party there. We're gonna go see her. So Florida, Houston's already booked. Um, Denver's booked. We're very close to booking Fort Lauderdale because we were going to do Miami, but we couldn't find any venues in Miami. Um,
Mhm.
and then I still have to work on Austin. And then in August, actually on her birthday, hopefully you can make it for that. We're doing a party on her actual birthday at $3 Bill in Brooklyn, where I did the party
Amazing.
last year.
I've heard about that place because like
Oh,
I
it's a gorgeous venue. Like it's got like an outdoor patio where people can chill and smoke or cool
nice.
off or whatever. And it's got this huge dance floor, great sound system, awesome stage and lighting and all that. Um, and then also, I don't know if you're familiar with Fire Island, but it's like the gay paradise kind of like.
I know of it. I've never been. I
Yeah,
feel like
it's in Long
I just
Island. Yeah, it's in Long Island,
need
like
to
off.
explore.
Yeah, yeah. It's in like there's a town in Long Island called Sayville, and you take the train to Sayville or you drive to Sayville, and then you take
Mhm.
a ferry over to this island, and it's a long island. It's I think it's called the Sandbar. It's a long island that has like a bunch of different like kind of communities, but the two gay
Mhm.
ones are Cherry Grove and Fire Island
Uh-huh.
Pines. And
Yep. I'm familiar
Cherry
with both.
Grove, yeah, Cherry Grove is more the lesbian side and the more chill side,
Yeah.
and the Pines is more like like Calvin Klein has a house there. Like it's more the architecture is a lot more like primo and like fancy and stuff like that. And all the prices are a lot higher. Um,
Yeah.
but the interesting thing about the history is the Cherry Grove side was um, all gay men as well. But during the HIV crisis, during the AIDS crisis, um, a lot of the gay men that owned the houses were dying, so the lesbians went and bought them so that they
Yeah.
wouldn't be sold to like straight people and become like a straight. So another thing that the lesbians did for us back in the day.
Yeah.
They saved Fire Island and kept it gay. So it's a but that's a great area and it's a really fun place to visit. But I'll be
Yeah.
doing my party there I'm going to do like a tea dance on Sunday, August 25th. So I figured this is the best year to do it, to take my Madonna worship party on tour with Madonna.
Mhm.
So
And you
we got
should
a
come
couple
to
stops.
Atlanta.
I know, right? Maybe I'll try next year to go to Atlanta.
I'm like, I totally have connections like you get to a get to a venue.
You know, we'll work on it. We'll work on it. Maybe if she goes on tour again or whatever, blah blah. But when
God,
was
I hope.
did she stop anywhere near Atlanta or no?
Um,
Or
what do you mean?
Was
Sorry.
Cleveland the closest?
Oh no, no, she's gonna be in Atlanta the April 1st.
Oh, that's right. You said that earlier. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I definitely can't. I can't go to
Oh yeah.
Atlanta
No,
and
I
then
know.
to Fort Lauderdale and then to Austin. Oh my God, I'm
I
hoping
know.
my
I just need to go to New York. That's the thing. Like I feel like New Yorkers like have the best time, and I've had the best experiences with my New York Madonna people.
yeah, of course we're that's where I love New York. That's where she got her start.
Yeah.
So we have the
Well, most of the Madonna people in New York. There's some that I could do without,
well,
but
yeah. There's always a few. But yeah, I mean,
yeah.
what I really love about like I used to go on the I know a bunch of people from there was a forum back before before
Mhm.
it was called Madonna Mad, and I know like
Yeah. Yeah.
fif-
Yeah.
15 people from that website that I still like bump into or still see. Like I talk to Katrina once in a while. I used to be friends with Brett a long time
Oh,
ago.
Katrina from LA.
Yeah, Katrina Kinsler.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I saw her in Cleveland this time. She's amazing.
yeah, we talk all the time. Christopher Cooley, I remember him from back then. I don't know if you know Tommy Boom. Do you know Tommy Boom?
Those names are familiar,
Yeah,
probably.
like we were all like we all used to. Like, I think I joined it around. Probably I think when did I get my first like desktop computer? I think it was like 97 or 98 or whatever. Um, and I used to go on that forum, and it was like right around when Ray of Light came out.
Mm.
So that's when I met them all. Like during I think it was like around Ray of Light, and the forum lasted until like popularity of it lasted. I think until like a little bit after American Life, maybe, and then it kind of like
Yeah.
Facebook came out eventually, or MySpace or whatever. So, but we all found each other on Facebook a couple years later, and like we talk to each other and comment on each other, and like once in a while we'll see each other in person, and it's pretty wild because that's like 26 years ago now. You know what I mean? So we've known each other for quite some time.
Yeah.
We've been through a
I
lot of
wish
Madonna eras.
I wish because I've been trying to for years now. In 2000 when she did the promo tour for
Yeah,
music. Um,
I
and
missed
this
that.
isn't me. Huh? Oh
I,
yeah.
I
I
missed
well
it.
I went, and it's weird every time I tell the story. I feel like I'm lying, but it was an MTV contest. I won that. They flew me from California to New York.
Oh wow.
Um, So, but all the people that were winners, the other guests that were there, like I only am in contact with one person from that. Like there are a lot of people that like I just lost contact with, and I can't remember their names, and I like how could I even find them? Because they were a cool bunch, and it's weird because it's like there are only like 10 of us that were there plus our guests, but like it would be just nice to like because sometimes other people can fill in your memories, things that you don't remember.
Yeah, of course.
But it'd be nice to be in contact with them because I look at the picture all the time and I'm like, I wonder what happened to so and so. So yeah, that was a wild experience. I got to meet her, and that was yeah. I didn't really say anything because I think I was just in awe, but I shook her hand and very firm handshake. So that was like meeting the queen,
Oh, that's amazing.
literally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first time I like got close to her was I went to the pajama party in 1995.
Oh my
It
God.
was at Webster Hall in New
Uh
York.
huh.
And
Yeah.
the crazy thing is like this is I've told this story before, but I think I was 19 at the time, and I think you could get in if you were 18. I think it was whatever. But I had left my ID. I was living in New Brunswick, New Jersey at the time, but
Mhm.
I left my ID at home on accident, like an idiot. So when I get to the front door, I'm like, I don't have ID, and they like kicked me off the line,
Oh my God.
and I had to go all the way around. My friend Darlene was having an affair with one of the guys who worked for Z100, and that's how she got me in to see this. It was like a couple of days after my birthday. That was like she got me that for my birthday, um,
Oh.
and I had to walk around the entire block in pajamas with a teddy bear in my hand and find this guy. I don't remember his name, and I had to be like, "Hi, I'm Darlene's friend. Like I had to be secretive about it. And I'm like, I left my ID at home and it's in New Brunswick. He's like, oh, Jesus Christ, blah, 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 blah. So he put me back in the line. And the best part about the whole experience, like it was there's a lot more to the story, but we were in line waiting to get in as she pulled up in her limo. So she literally like got out and flashed us her nightgown. And if I didn't forget my ID, we would have been in the club already. So like the fact that me and my friend Pedro, like we had to find each other again, this was before cell phones. Um, we happened to be in line right when she came in. So like it all worked out perfectly. Like it was a happy accident, you know? And then we got in and we
Yeah.
watched the video and danced and had a great time. But that was my first time being really close to her. And then do you remember the Secret Project Revolution thing?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
I didn't get to see it because I don't think they did anything in Atlanta, but yeah, I do.
Back to having a tattoo. Adi Bar, who runs Madonna's tattoos,
Yep.
she got contacted by Guy Osiri, I believe, and she was allowed to invite like 20 people.
Oh my
And
God.
she posted on Facebook, if you have a Madonna tattoo, comment on this post.
Mm-hmm.
And Michelle called me immediately. She's like, go to ID's post and comment, blah, blah, blah. I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean? She's like, go right now. And I was like number 19 or number 20, or I don't even know.
Oh my
And
God.
luckily I made it. So that was, we were actually in the Gagosian Gallery in New York. And there
Yeah.
was just this cloud of people following her around. I was like, I didn't want to be aggressive, but I was like, I'm never going to be able to talk to her because everyone's like attacking her. And then finally,
Yeah.
I got close enough to her, and I said in her ear, I said, I've been wearing patchouli since 1989 because of you. And she goes, what? And I go, I've been wearing patchouli since 1989 because of you. And she chuckled a little bit, and then
Oh
she
my
got
God.
pulled away by the crowd of people. I was like, oh my God, I got to speak to her a little bit.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
my big claim to fame was I work at Stonewall, and on New Year's Eve
Mm-hmm.
2019, right
Yep.
before World Pride kickoff, she made a surprise appearance at Stonewall, and I was basically her DJ. So it was a slow build up, but 2019 was like the pinnacle.
Yeah.
She was on that little stage.
Oh, yeah. I've been to Stonewall once. I need to go back because it's like that was 2015, so it's been far too long.
Oh wow.
Um, but yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I could never. I didn't when I met her. I didn't know what to say. So like I do feel that what you said to her was very original. Um, I also love patchouli because of that damn record.
Yeah.
Um, I had a customer come in one time when I used to work at this doggy daycare, and they smelled exactly like a prayer. And I told them, and they just kind of blinked at me, and I'm like, "What are you wearing?" And it was something like patchouli and Egyptian musk, and it smelled exactly like the record.
That's so funny. What's really wild is when that first, like, we didn't know that when it came out, and I remember having the
Yeah,
cassette tape. I was like, why does it smell like an old book? It's kind of what it smells like. And I
yeah,
remember just being like, it's wild how like it's the first time like a music had a smell to it. It was really
yeah,
interesting. It really changed it really left an imprint on my memory about like hearing those songs in the beginning, and the
yeah.
opening things of Keep It Together, and like the
Hmm.
you know the merry-go-round sound of Dear Jesse, and like the violins of Father. Like you just associate that with the smell now.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny because like me and my friend Mary, she's she loves Madonna, not as much as I do. I don't think there are only a few people that do.
Yeah, I know, right?
Just kidding. Um, but yeah, every time we're in a record store, if we see a copy of like Prayer, we just check it and we're like, oh, this is a reprint. Never mind. Uh, but like if we go to each other's houses, we always grab the record and like have a huff, and it's just very nostalgic.
Yeah, I mean,
Is that what
my friend Pedro that I went to grammar school with
hmm.
and high school with, we used to like share headphones and listen to that in
Oh,
homeroom. He was my first big Madonna fan friend. He used to. I remember in my basement we used to hang out, and he used to take like pictures of her, like black,
Mhm.
like drawings or like photocopies, and he would like do her makeup and do like her and color her in and all that kind of stuff. It was so funny. That was what he used to do, and then I eventually started like 1990 is when I started like when I really went over the edge. Like I was always a fan, but something about
Mhm.
Vogue, something about like obviously like a prayer really reeled me in. But
Right.
I was also like when Like a Prayer came out, I was 13, so I was starting to discover my own taste for music.
Right.
But when Vogue came out, I just went bonkers and like lost it
Yeah.
and became like a super fan. And I remember I was on vacation. My family had a house in the Jersey Shore, near the Jersey Shore, and we went down there and I had one True Blue on the boardwalk, the cassette, but I had the cassette of I'm Breathless. I had the cassette of Like a Prayer. I think the first album, and I guess like a version. And I spent most of the vacation making like weird like mixes of Madonna songs. Like I would, so I guess it was like the beginnings of me being a DJ. But it was
Yeah.
really funny because I was making like I would play a song and then I would like pause it, go back, repeat, pause it. You know, like I would record and I would like
Mhm.
mix songs. Like I remember like I would go from when she says to justify my wanting you in burning up, I would say to justify my love, my love. Like I was making mixes back then. It was really funny.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's still somewhere like those cassettes. I don't even have a cassette
Oh my
player.
God. Yeah. I
My
don't
computer
either.
doesn't even have a DVD player. So like all that stuff is so like obsolete now.
Yeah. I used to do that sometimes. I mean, but it just I don't know. It was just out of boredom, and it never. Most of it just never made any sense. But things you do in the 80s and 90s.
I know it's wild. I'm so glad I grew up in those years though, because I got to
Definitely.
see before all the technology and then after all the
Yeah.
technology.
Yeah. Because I'm like 2 years younger than you.
Yeah,
So
I'll be
it,
I'm telling people I'm turning 4 dozen next month. Not 48, but
yeah,
4 dozen.
I know.
Yeah, but like
I
it's
just
just
turned
wild.
46, and
So we're yeah, exactly 2 years old. What's really
yeah.
wild though is that like what did we do when we didn't have our phones? Like I don't even remember what I did to pass the time.
Uh, we hung out. We actually talked to each other.
Yeah,
We
exactly.
we went to the mall.
Yeah, we went to the
We
mall,
went to
definitely.
record stores.
Yeah.
We used to hang out in the park and drink. Um,
Well, where did you grow up? Grow up?
I grew up in like East Bay area in California, so
Oh,
like
okay.
45 minutes east of San Francisco. So
Oh,
San
very cool.
Francisco was like my New York. Like I grew up in like small farming communities, so like I had to like my best friend, the way her husband described where we grew up, he went to visit and he's like, it's like Midwest in California. I'm like, exactly. Like it was nothing. It was awful. So we would take the train into the city, as we called it, which was San Francisco, and that was like that was part of my discovery. That was my gay upbringing. I mean, Madonna was really the first because I grew up Baptist, and so when I always liked her from the beginning, but it wasn't until Like a Prayer, and then I was like, fuck this, I have to worship her.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
but she was the first person that told me, that I wasn't a freak, and I didn't know anything about the gay community until her. Like, and
Oh,
so I
wow.
was just like, this is where I belong.
That's exciting. No, that's yeah, because the amount of people that she did that for is pretty wild.
Yeah,
Like I always thought of her as like she would tell us that it's okay to be a freak. Like
yeah,
let your freak flag fly. Like don't hide how you know who you are. But I do remember, I guess, growing up Catholic and all that. That's why I think like a prayer really like affected me so much because the burning crosses and just how she looked and she was just so
hmm
gorgeous in
yeah,
that like that outfit and dancing in front of the crosses and then like the storyline and then all the performances and then Truth or Dare and then like Truth or Dare like I think I've probably seen that movie about 7,000 times by now. But
yeah. I
it's
know. If
wild like
if I ever Oh, sorry. If I ever watch that with anybody who's never seen it, I always warn them. I'm like, I will fucking quote this entire
I
movie, so
know,
you may
right?
want to watch it alone.
We went to see it. Like, was it around her birthday or when was it? Yeah, I think around her birthday last year they did a screening of it downtown, and
Yeah.
in Manhattan, and like everybody was just like holding back, trying not to recite every line. But yeah, I mean, I grew up in New Jersey, which was like a 25-minute uh, train ride into the West Village, like Christopher Street, like where the Stonewall is, that whole area, the gay
Hmm.
village. So I
Yep.
pretty much had a very similar, like my hometown wasn't super rural. I mean, it was kind of a commuter town, but it used to be like a big factory town. But when I was a kid, all the factories were empty. But but I'm like the youngest in my family. But like when my brothers were younger, like there was still some of the industry in the town, and now it's like a full blown commuter town with like a gazillion like condominiums and this and that, blah blah blah. It's completely different.
Yeah.
Doesn't look anything like it did when I was a kid. But that was our escape. It was $1 back then. We put $1 in the little machine,
Hmm.
and we'd end up in this wonderland of like, and it was the '90s, so it was like still gritty. It was still,
Yeah.
still like dangerous. I mean, it's there's a little bit of danger back in the city now, after the pandemic. But back then it was like you couldn't, if you went down certain streets, you had to kind of like tone down your gayness, and
Yeah.
if you're on Christopher Street, you were cool. You could be whoever you wanted to be, and like they didn't really check IDs back then as much. So I was like in high school going into gay bars and
Hmm.
going to school the next on Sunday nights, and then go to school on Monday morning in high school and being like, nobody knows I was at a gay bar like 5 hours
Yeah.
ago. So that was
I know.
exciting.
I used to go to gay bars. Like I started like when I was 15 because it was just an escape. I mean, I wasn't really necessarily going there to party, even though I did, but it was more so. I think a lot of kids probably don't understand nowadays because it's like we had to go and escape and be ourselves, and it was hard to be yourself.
Like you were part of a secret club back then.
Yeah, yeah, that's why it's funny because it's like I see, I still, I think because of growing up in that time period, I still have moments where it's like almost like you feel like sex between men is just very like a sort of private secretive thing, and I'm like, oh, it's not, anybody can do whatever, but it's just like the way you were brought up and you think about that, like, because I usually keep that separate from like friends and whatever, and I don't really, I'll discuss it sort of, but I'm just like, yeah, that's just my own business, and then I'm like, wait, it doesn't matter anymore, but it's still
Yeah.
like we were almost trained like it's supposed to be this like back room, dark, secretive, alleyway, like, or in the park or whatever, and it's just like it's weird to see how things have progressed.
Well, also what I always tell people too is that like in the '90s, like sex equaled death pretty much. Like there was
Yeah,
a huge risk you were taking, and it was terrifying, and like it made it even more like not exciting, but it made it even more of like a thrill because you're like,
yeah,
oh, I have to be careful, but this is taboo and this is wrong and this is against everything, but like it's what I want and all that kind of stuff. So like now that it's not a death sentence anymore, getting HIV, it's like it's pretty much like having you know, it's not even as bad as having diabetes. I don't even think anymore. It's like, of course it does
yeah.
have long-term effects on you. It's not,
Hmm.
it's not that you don't have to worry about anything, but with all the medications out nowadays, it's like, it's not like, you're not risking your life by giving
Right.
yourself pleasure with someone else, So back then it was like pleasure was like dangerous. And I think
Hmm.
that's why the sex book really like, was perfect timing for me at least, because it's when I was like kind of finding all those like seedy places in New York and the sex
Hmm.
clubs and the little like back room things and that kind of stuff. And like, so Madonna was obvious. It's almost like Madonna was discovering the stuff at the same time that I did. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. It's weird because like when the erotica video and the sex book and all that came out, like I had no idea about S&M or bondage or any of that, and I also was a virgin when that came out, and of course a year later that all changed. But I didn't even have the birds and the bees conversation. Like I grew up Southern Baptist. Well, I mean, my grandfather was Southern Baptist minister, so um, and there was never a sex talk. It was just let's not talk about it. And of course, everybody knew that I was gay, but nobody wanted to say it. And so like my sexual education was from Madonna, and so obviously it was good
Wow.
because it was safe sex promotion and consent and all that, everything that you know should be involved with sex. But it's just that taught me a lot. And so, but it was weird. There was this fear. I mean, it was exciting, but it was scary, and it's kind of weird to be alive during the start of something. Because, like, I mean, I was very young, but I do remember when they were talking when AIDS was a thing, and it was just beginning, and everybody was like gay cancer, and then to where we are now.
Yeah, and we were like
Um,
4, 5, 6 years old. Like we were really
yeah,
young.
yeah. And then seeing something like Live to Tell on the Celebration tour, like, holy crap.
My God, that I was so like I caught a glimpse of that obviously like the very first night that somebody streamed it on Instagram, and then I really didn't
Yeah,
pay attention to. I didn't pay attention. I didn't watch a lot of videos after like the first week, and then like I knew that was going to be rough when I saw it live, and the first night
yeah,
was wow. But the mother and father section is what really blows me away. I mean, I lost my mom when I was 19, so that's another
yeah.
connection with Madonna. So like that, just how she does it with her, with David, and she kind of
Hmm.
they're both, they both lost their mother, and then Madonna's kind of his mother's replacement. So it was like so many layers of
Yeah.
emotion, and honestly, like what's really crazy about Madonna. I mean, there's a lot of crazy things about Madonna, but like
Hmm.
nobody else, no other pop star has lived through things that she's lived through, and has like none of the other ones have like adopted children that were orphaned by AIDS. Like none of the other pop stars have like two kids that are in their 20s now. Like none of the other pop stars hung out with Keith Haring and Andy Warhol and Basquiat and all them. Like so, like she's one of a kind because of what she's where she was when she was there. Like it's like if she got to New York like a couple of years later, she might have missed all that and never
Yeah.
been anything. But like she really just landed at the right time, met the right people, and like was friends with all these brilliant people. So like, but it must be so heartbreaking for her that she's like the only one left. Like it must be,
Yeah.
and she's just constantly like to put yourself through that every night. Put
Yeah.
yourself through seeing all those pictures, gigantic versions, of all
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
like not even life size, they're like larger than life, like Freddie Mercury
Yeah.
and then Gabriel
Yeah.
from the Blonde Ambition tour.
Well, and
Um,
even in Martin, her best friend,
yeah, like
and
she has
it
to look
starts
at
off with him.
she has to look at a huge, image of him every single
Yeah.
night he performs, and then she has to look at
Yeah.
her mom, and then she has to, look at her son looking at his
Yeah.
mom. It's wild, it's like to put your. It's not like she's an actress playing a role. Like this is
Yeah.
actually her life. Like it's not
Yeah.
made up.
Yeah.
It's not like she's a Broadway performer and she's playing like the
Hmm.
role of someone else. This is actually like people she knew and people she lost, and it's pretty wild. Like anyone who says that she's faking it or any kind of it's like no, she's like putting herself through those memories every single show. It's wild.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would be able to handle that.
It's hard, but I mean, I think somehow it makes you stronger, and it's weird because it's like I know it's cliche, and it's of course hard to hear when things like that happen, but it's like you look at it much later on, and it does like I mean, my mother used to say things which I thought was kind of horrible, but she always used to say that when things were tough, like, oh, it builds character, and I'm like, well, that explains me.
Yeah.
Um, but like I lost my father when I was 2, so that was definitely
Oh wow.
part of the connection with Madonna, like losing a parent at a young age, and then I lost my mother almost 22 years ago.
Oh wow.
Um, so it was like Madonna in reverse, but it's like I connected with the religious aspect, even though I wasn't Catholic, but then I connected with the whole losing a parent at a young age, and um, I don't know. It's like I've had to explain it to a lot of people who don't quite understand because, I've, especially even junior high, high school in the early 90s, people knew me as, the Madonna lover, and people called me Madonna, and, I would vogue in class and at the drop of a hat. I was just like, that was, my identity. But it was more than that because it was just this connection and this bond with someone. And um, I even got to tell Guy Osiri a couple of times. Um, she was like she was my first fag hag. She was my introduction, but also it was like Madonna was there for me when nobody was, and that was just kind of my escape. And here was this person telling me it's okay, and then leading by example. And she went through hell and back, and she's still alive. And even today, it still inspires me because a
Yeah,
lot of times when I'm feeling down, I'm just like, well, fuck it. What would Madonna do?
you just keep on going. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, you know what else I really loved, always like about her, like, and other people, a lot of people complain about it, like the fact that she's so like cold and bitchy. Like,
yeah,
I actually prefer that rather than like every single time she's on stage, like, oh, my fans are the most one. You're like, oh my god,
yeah,
little monsters, or whatever, all this other shit that they do. Like, I love that she's like, like, fuck off. I'm not interested in, I mean, over the last maybe 10 years or so, she's gotten a little less, you know, acerbic, or, when it comes to fans, like she's done more like personal meet and greets and stuff like that. And she's
yeah,
been a lot more gracious and expressing her gratitude to her fans. But like, I like the fact that she was like, in her beginning of her career through like erotic, she's like, get away from me. Like, I don't want to, I don't, I don't need to talk. I don't need to have a conversation with you. Like,
yeah,
like it was like this tough love from like a maternal figure that she was, like, kind of like saying like, no, don't be a wimp, like, toughen
yeah.
up, like, I'm doing it, you can do it,
Well, I think a lot of that too was probably from losing her mother because I think it was that whole if you're vulnerable and you're weak, that, or you get close to people, they go away. So it's like it's this kind of armor and this very Leo thing.
Yeah, it's like what she says in Promise to Try. She's like, I was afraid you'd go away too.
Yeah. And it's funny because you talking about you love when she's cold. That just reminds me of Jose from Truth or Dare. I love it when she's mean.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, it's like, that's what you want in like an idol. Like, you want someone to be like, shut up, get out of my face, like,
Well,
I'm
she's
not,
real. She's not. I mean, a lot of times when people are like gushing or like, "Oh, my fans are," it's like they do love them and appreciate them, but sometimes it's you can spot the fakeness about it. And she's,
yeah, and it's just
yeah,
a show, just to hook people in.
yeah, and she's not trying to do that. She's trying to, inspire people. She's trying to educate people. She's being herself, and that's all she's ever been.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't get that. And it's funny because it's like I ask. I mean, I always tell people when I ask them to be on the podcast, some people are like, "Oh, well, I don't know anything about Madonna," so like it, and I'm like, "Oh, well, the podcast isn't about Madonna," but like it is and it isn't. Like Wayne from Madonna Keep It Together podcast, he mentioned it, and he's like, well, he's like, you're inspired by her. This is kind of how your life goes back to her and how it affects you. And so he's like, yeah, it's always going to go back to her. Cause even when I don't bring her up, people do.
Yeah.
But it's just, that's, it's powerful. It's powerful that someone can have that effect on you. And I thank her for that and I appreciate it. And I'm glad that like, I've been able, like Guy Theory interviewed me one time because he saw the Madonna tattoo and he was like, "All right, I need to interview," and that was in the Golden Triangle. And he asked me, he's like, he flipped the camera on and he's like, "Okay, well, what does Madonna mean to you?" And I was like, "Oh fuck, how much time do you have?" But then I'm talking to him and I'm looking right at him and he goes, "Don't tell me, don't look at me, look in the camera, tell her." And I'm like, I want to vomit. But it's just nice. It's nice that I'm sure she's seen it. I mean, I don't know, or at least he's told her. And I did tell her him again when I saw him in Madam X in Chicago, and it's just wild. And I think that's what's cool about meeting so many people who share the same love, but also can literally share it, because some fans are just like, I'm the biggest fan. I have all this. I have these, like they think they're better than everybody. And I'm just
Oh,
like,
yeah,
that's not what it's about. That's not what she's about.
yeah, I totally know the kinds of people you're talking about.
Yeah. Like the Russian and the horse. No.
Oh, Jesus! Wow. Yeah, we call him Pokey and Putin.
Oh, what is it? I was told another what was, oh God, what did she call Oksana? Sorry. I don't care. I'm name dropping. I don't give a fuck. Well, she's probably gonna sue me.
Yeah, she'll sue you for defamation. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Well,
know.
the crazy thing was I was in the pit the last Monday.
Hmm.
They were in there. I didn't know. I knew one of them was in there, but I didn't know the DJ in quotes was in there. But then the Russian one followed me on Instagram, and I'm like,
Oh my God.
I removed her and like blocked her or whatever. I was like,
Yeah.
why would you follow me? Like we had like when I was in Portugal for Madame X, I was doing a party there, and they were also there doing like a screening of their documentary. And they like, and my friends were asking about the documentary, and I couldn't find it on the website
Have you
at
seen
all.
it? It's terrible.
No, I haven't seen it, but I don't plan on it either.
Well,
But
there's segments of it. We got together, watched it, and had a kiki, and it was laughable.
well, there was, it wasn't on the website, so I emailed the people at the theater, and I'm like, hey, I'm just wondering if this, and like they showed it to her, they showed the email to her, and she like blew up my spot on Facebook, or that I was trying to be malicious, and I was like, no, I was actually just, I didn't. It said that you were doing it at this place, and I've heard shady things about you before, and I didn't know. People I knew that were in Lisbon wanted to go see it, and I wanted to make sure that it actually was happening, and they weren't going to go and pay for a ticket and not have the thing happen, because I know that they used to sell, or they used to try to scam tickets out of people, or like they used to print tickets and try to steal
Yeah.
people's seats and stuff. So,
Hmm.
and yeah, I was being a little catty and I was being a fag, I mean, like it's a bitchy queen, but at the same time, it's also like, I won't start a little trouble. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I finally remembered what some people call her. It's Coxana.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
I
Yeah, like
know.
I don't know. I understand. Like you want to sue this person, and then all of a sudden you're like screaming, trying to steal, grab the bottle when she throws it at you. Like you're in the pit. Like how are you affording that? And how are you like why are you going to see her and being all goo goo gaga over her when you were like a year ago you were making videos about how she ruined your life?
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because like nobody can ruin your life, and that's the thing. It's like it's just the point is just missed, and I don't know. Like I met them in Chicago during Madam X, and I mean, we just saw them outside the theater, and I don't know. I don't know. It's weird. It's a very interesting fan base. There are so many wonderful people, but then there's so many people that like I just can't.
Yeah.
And it's sad, and it's just like, I'm just like, why do you like the same person I like, and how do you get that from, you're not getting the same thing that most of us are getting.
Well, the funny thing is, it took me a while to realize that you were Pumpkin King and Nick Lepersky were the same person for like a couple of months, and then one day I was like, oh, well, that's the thing with like all these names that we have on like different
Yeah.
pages. You don't necessarily read what the person's name is or whatever. But I'm like, oh, that's that Pumpkin King guy, Pumpkin King. And all of a sudden,
Yeah.
I one day I looked, I go, oh, that's Nick. Who I talk to on Facebook. We interact on Facebook all the time, and like it totally connected. I
Yeah.
was like, but that's not the first time it's happened. Like there's been other people where I'm like, oh, because some people don't post any pictures of themselves on their Instagram. It's all other pictures. So sometimes you
Right.
don't even know what these people look like, and then
Yeah.
they find you on Facebook, and you're you know communicating with them, but then you don't make the connection
Hmm.
that they're the same person on Instagram. I mean, mine are all the same all the way through, so it's easier. But it's just so funny. It's just so funny sometimes. I'm like, oh, and then there's also sometimes where I'm like, I know I met them once, or I knew their
Yeah,
name, but like
yeah,
I just call them that, like on what their
right.
screen name is.
Oh yeah, that's happened a lot. Like people, um, my friend Jasmine, I hung out with her the other day, and like I was introducing her to somebody, and I was like, I totally forgot your name. I just remembered your screen name. That's all. I was like, shit. That's the thing. Is because like some people you just like exclusively talk to on like Instagram or whatever, and then
Yeah,
you just like forget that you're like, oh wait, that's not your name. That's okay.
yeah. It's why what we've done to each other with our screen names and stuff like that, or like people who have like I love when people who have like who are in the entertainment or the nightlife business, and their like Instagram handle is the hardest thing to spell or to find. I'm like, you're making life really difficult for people that see you at a show and they want to follow you. Like, it's really hard for them to find you because your name has like 6 underscores in it and four. Hello.
Hi.
All right. There was a little intermission.
Stupid technology. Unless it was the Russian and she heard us.
Yeah, she hacked us. Yeah. Or
Oh,
maybe we're just like they're talking about bad things too much. Let's cut them off.
I know. Well, I love it that like I don't even like refer to them by name, but I'll like just say the Russian and the horse to a lot of people, and people will be like, "Oh yeah," I'm like, eh.
It's
But
just why.
everybody has nicknames.
What's really wild is that the DJ had a really successful party for a long time
Yeah.
in the West Village, and like, well, before that, they used to hire other DJs, and everything was different. And then they started DJing from their iPad, and it was just kind of like there were moments where you'd hear like a song, and then before the bridge even came, she'd switch it to like a ballad, and it was like just completely stopped the vibe of the party. It was very weird. And then the giveaways were like the gay magazines that had Madonna on the cover, or like a bag from the Sticky and Sweet tour. Me and a couple of friends always joke around about that. It's like she'd take like the Sticky and Sweet tour bag that her program was in, and that would be one of the raffle, like one of the raffle prizes or something.
God.
It's like, thanks for that plastic bag. But yeah, no, I mean,
Yeah.
I after Madam X, like I really tried to like just no more ill will about people like that, and just let them be, and let them, like not harp on it, because it feels gross after a while.
Yeah. No, I get it. I get it. It's
I mean, it's fun to
it's
be like mischievous and like pick on people and all that, but then after a while, it's just like, it's just it's kind of they're in their own little purgatory on their own. Let them stay there. They're all crazy and fanatic, and I
mhm.
it's too much.
Yeah. I mean, mostly me. I just feel like I just don't understand how people can behave that way and get there, and it's just
Yeah,
mind-boggling to
that is
me.
fascinating. It is fascinating how like people can be so, and like you were saying earlier, like it's a competition for them. It's not even like I like to bring everybody up, like, and say like, okay,
Yeah.
like if I have the opportunity, if I had the opportunity to go backstage, say, and I had like, I would be like, can I bring some people? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I
It's
would
like
want other people to share it with me. I mean, of course,
yeah.
I get a little envious of people who get to travel all over the world and see her and have the money to like get the pit tickets every night, and that's or win them or whatever.
Yeah.
But this is the first like tour that I've really splurged, and like I'm probably gonna at the end of the tour gonna see about 10 shows, which is crazy for me. Like I saw 5 MDNA shows, and that was like a crazy record that
Yeah.
I never thought I would break. So my plan was to at least do 6 this time, but I already did 6. So,
Yeah, the most I ever
but
did on a tour, I did 3 on Rebel Heart, and we traveled for that. Went to Atlanta and to Miami, and but um, I don't know. It's expensive.
yeah, it's not even like, and the tickets are expensive, yes, but it's like it's the traveling and the accommodations.
Yeah.
luckily, when I go to Florida, like I'll have a place to stay. Houston, and that's the cool thing about me doing my party or each one. Like I'll at least get my airfare taken care of and my room and board, and maybe a little
Yeah,
bonus, But like, it's not completely in the red,
yeah, yeah. I don't know. It's just I think to me being a fan has always been how how the whatever you're a fan of makes you feel, but also how it inspires you and how
Yeah,
you can reflect whatever it's bringing to you. And if people can see that and go, oh well, this is great, this inspired you, this made you into this type of person, cool. But all these people are like, oh well, I have all these things, and I've been to people argue about like who's the bigger fan, and it's like who fucking cares? Just
yeah, that's definitely.
like what you like, and be appreciative that other people like the same thing, and you can connect, and you can meet. I've met so many amazing people through Madonna.
Yeah, and I've discovered so much art and so much cinema and so much like different things that she's been inspired by and incorporated into her work. Like it's when being a fan of Madonna is not just being a fan of Madonna. It's like you're a fan of like I know about A Clockwork Orange because of Madonna. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. From the Blonde Ambition, Keep It Together. Like I know
Yeah.
about like all these different artists and Remedio Veros or whatever, the one from Bedtime Story Video, with the two mirrors.
Mhm.
Like I know about all, and obviously we know about Frida Kahlo through her, and
Right.
you know,
Right.
but like she's exposed me and everyone I know to so many like, and I love that like I'm a big dance fan, like not just dancing, but like I helped produce and well, I used to be more involved years ago, but it's an annual dance parade that happens in New York, and it's like 120 different styles of dance, from like ballet to break dance to you know uh, bhangra. It's pretty much everything. And the cool thing about having that background is like she always incorporates like so many different styles of dance in every show.
Yeah.
Like not dogging Beyonce or Janet or whatever, but like they all do like this like line dance formation cheerleading
Yeah.
squad kind of dance. Britney, all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. Like Madonna has tango, Madonna has salsa, Madonna has you know freeform dancing, and like then she had that breathwork thing in the Madame X tour. Like, and in this tour during the Living for Love, I know it's a it's a not Aboriginal, but I know that dance is like I think it's Hawaiian or some sort of Pacific Island dance that they do during Living for Love. That really
Mhm.
intense. Like I know that like she's never had that in the show before, and even
Yeah.
like Frozen from Drowned World, that was all like kabuki, like with that huge
God,
wings. Like
so
it's
amazing.
like every show has. She's not just one style of dancer. Like she could break it down, hip hop style. Then she could, do like a fierce tango with somebody. Then she could do, the breakdown of Liza Bonita and Girly Show was like
Oh
insane. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
but like she can do that, and then like then she can do like another style like in the next number. Like that's not there's not a lot of people who do that.
Right.
Like
Well,
she
what I've
really
always
incorporates a lot of different styles. That's what I love.
yeah, what I've always loved though is that I was talking about this with a friend the other day because it's not knocking anybody else, but because I'll notice things about certain, like Beyonce, for instance, and be like, oh, well, that's from blah blah blah, but Madonna has always said where her inspiration comes from. She's always been like, I read this book and I was inspired. I saw this movie and I was inspired.
I
I was
say this
inspired
all
by
the
this
time too.
painting. Yes, it's never been like I created this, and not like the other people are saying that, but it's like
But
they don't.
one in particular kind of pretends that everything she does is her own idea, and
Is she a monster?
that's what always pissed me off about her. It's like you're doing a disservice to your fans because you're not introducing them to where you got your inspiration from,
Oh
and that
yeah,
that opened
or you
that
lie
opened up
about it.
that opened up a door for me to discover a whole world of art and culture and
Yeah,
that I wouldn't have known about before until
yeah.
Madonna said it in an interview. But you know what? I was thinking this today, actually, maybe because we were going to have this interview. like
Yeah.
people don't get interviewed as much lately. Like that's not a thing. Maybe because of social media
No.
and people post things all the time now.
Yeah.
Like a singer would put something in their caption in a fit photo, but like
Yeah.
there's no Kurt Loder's anymore. There's no like
Well, I miss Kurt Loder. I miss like
yeah
the No Bull and the
yeah. He
Evita
always.
like.
I would love for him to
Uh,
interview her now. That would be really exciting. But like I feel
yeah.
like Madonna. I feel like Madonna still gets interviewed and other people don't.
Yeah.
And I
Although
don't
she
mean just like
hasn't
a
in a minute though. Like I think the last time was like to the Tonight Show, maybe in like Madam X ish or a little bit after that.
well yeah like the talk shows I don't really count as much, but like I guess like around MDNA, right? I guess, right? Like she was doing all those. No. She did some for during Rebel Heart, but
Yeah.
not
She
much.
did a
So
lot for Rebel Heart.
that's
Well,
right.
no,
She did. Yeah.
remember all those things where she was in the museum and like the Basquiat was behind her and
Yes, you're right. Yeah. So it's just I think Madam X she kind of stepped off a little bit, and I would just like to I would just like to hear maybe after this tour is over, like I would like to find out like how she came up with everything. You know, like I imagine that she took the script that they wrote for the biopic and kind of said, okay, let's put this in. How are we going to put this in? Let's put this in. Let's put
right.
this in. You know, like make sure we don't leave this out because it really does stop after like Evita, right? Like it doesn't really. I mean,
Yeah.
it goes to like Ray of Light, but you don't really like she doesn't really go into the the 2000s of her like her personal life really in the show,
I mean,
right?
bits and pieces, but it's there's slight nods.
Yeah, like obviously like Don't Tell Me and stuff like that, and then obviously like Bitch I'm Madonna and all that. But
Yeah.
I feel like after like Evita, Ray of Light, music, like she kind
Hmm.
of I guess there just wasn't enough time too. But like
Yeah.
it doesn't the show really doesn't have any mentions of what happened in her life after 2000.
Yeah. I know it's
Except
interesting
for
though
the
because
kids, you know, except for the kids,
yeah,
obviously.
I feel like she was planning this behind our backs because I know there were stories and like posts that she'd make where it looked like she was looking at like stage diagrams and stuff, like when she had the pink hair. Like I know people screen capped it and I've seen things, and so like I think it's been in the works for a while. Um, she was just very quiet about it. I also feel like this was probably kind of a contractual thing. You know, she went back to Warner Brothers.
Uh-huh.
Because I always like, I love that she's doing this, but I always thought it was bizarre that she was doing a greatest hits tour because it was like she doesn't really look back though. That's the weird thing. So it's just like it's a new thing for her, but I'm glad she did it.
Yeah, but I also think like she kind of reinvented the greatest hits tour because it's kind of like a loose musical about her, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, there are a few parts where I'm a little like why this then and why that there. Like I'm sure there's a reason for it.
yeah.
Like the little crazy for you snippet. Like I just don't I don't understand that. I'm
Well,
glad
it's
she
also
sings it.
it's too short.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad she sings it and great and all that,
Yeah,
but like, I don't know why she sings it after Human Nature. Like,
yeah.
maybe she's crazy for herself. Like, maybe that's what she's like she's singing it to herself.
I think so. I think she's because that was during the giant, you know, that was backlash. Human
That makes
Nature
sense.
was the fuck you to the press and everybody else who the
Yeah,
naysayers. So I think that's kind of what it was about.
that makes
I
sense.
don't really understand the whole Michael Jackson segment.
Oh
Like,
my
I mean,
God,
I get it, but it just,
I
I was like,
that makes me so angry. That section,
yeah. I mean, I,
not
I,
angry, but
I,
just like I'm just like I just turn around. I don't even pay attention to it.
yeah. I mean, and I know it's probably, you know, unpopular opinion, but like, I'm not wild about Michael Jackson, but he's very talented and lovely music. But like as a person, I'm like
Well, I
I
just think
find him
he
crazy.
talks so much shit about her. I wonder why she's still so
Yeah,
hung up on him. Yeah.
I know. I don't know, but I feel like it's just one of those things. It's a weird culture that we live in where, I mean, I guess like maybe it's the fleetingness of time, and it's, when people die, you kind of have a different opinion and you develop different things. But I just feel like we as a culture, like we saint people that after they die, even though they don't always deserve it. It's
Well,
just
the
like
other thing too, it's like, how much time did they spend together? Not that much.
yeah, I think I don't even know if they dated, but kind of. I mean, I don't know,
I mean,
but I think
I don't think they dated. I feel like they just like kind of like were sword fighting with each other, like kind of like dilly dallying about
yeah,
whose career was better. And then she tried to give him a makeover, like she was going to get Jose and Luis
yeah,
Lewis to make him over and give him a Caesar cut or something. I remember hearing that back in the day through one of
yeah,
those magazines, like Icon or something. And
yeah.
he was not for it. You know, he didn't want to be made over by two gay guys. Um,
I know.
and that's what kind of put an end to their like possibility of working together. Because I think In the Closet was supposed to be Madonna, but who knows?
Yep. Yeah. I mean, it was because I remember reading an interview and she was talking about him wanting to work, and she said something like, "Oh, I've already done that."
Uh-huh.
that's that's tired. Oh,
Funny.
yeah. I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, I don't know, but that's the one section that I'm just like I could do without. Like,
Yeah, that definitely that and the whole section of her trying to get into the club, but I get that. I get why that's there, you know.
oh, it's fun. I mean, it's playful. I do like all the like nods to a lot of the people, and
Like
like
like it
there's
was like
that.
Adam Ant, right? The one guy looks like
Yeah.
Adam Ant. And then you got
Uh-huh.
Basquiat, obviously, and then like
Yeah. And Keith Haring.
yeah, I'm surprised like she didn't like throw in a little Andy Warhol or anybody else
Yeah.
in there. Like I wonder, but
Well,
I'm
maybe Andy would have been too on the nose. Maybe I don't know. I mean,
yeah,
she
it's
and she
true.
did that. She did that in Who's That Girl anyway.
What do you mean?
Well, she had that. Remember the jacket, the You Can Dance jackets with the can of soup.
Oh, okay, yeah, I know what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, I'm like she did Warhol already.
That's right. Okay, now I know what you're saying. Um, yeah, I mean, I just, I mean, I had to, there's a little bit of corny moments, but I always like my Madonna dark. I always like my Madonna like brooding and angry and
Yeah.
violent. Like,
Hmm.
I missed the Drown World tour, but I hate the fact that I missed that tour because that's my Madonna like at my favorite kind of Madonna, like that
Oh yeah.
punky rock and roll, like violent shooting her dancers kind of Madonna.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
I had
That was.
tickets for the show that she canceled because she had laryngitis and I couldn't go to
Uh,
the reschedule.
yeah. That was the first show that I mean, the first time I saw her was at Roseland Ballroom, but the first actual like tour concert was Drown World.
Oh,
Um,
they're jealous.
Yeah, it was amazing. That's one of my favorite. I mean, I know all the gays go wild about Confessions, and it's lovely. I never got to see Confessions because she didn't play here, and I didn't travel at the time.
Oh wow.
Um, but I know most people list that as their favorite, and I love it. And it's amazing, but it's just like I've Drowned World just had such like it just kind of made my head explode. It was just so like wow.
Just like I would like to see her flying must have been wild.
It was cool. I mean, and sadly, that was, internet was definitely a thing by then. So like I knew there were so many spoilers, and so I just remember being in the seats with my friends, and I'm like, she's gonna fly, watch.
That's very funny.
But then every time she does that, like even when she's in the box for the Celebration tour, I always worry. I'm like, please tell me those cables are strong.
I know, right? Oh my god.
Uh, uh, I know. Mm,
And
I
just the
miss
fact
what
that
she had.
people like nasty people like took a close up video and made it look like she was holding on to and like no, she's floating like 60 feet above the air. Like, yes, you're gonna hold
Yeah,
on to something. You're dancing like a
yeah.
maniac.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I'm afraid of heights. Be like, fuck that. I don't care if I have a harness or not. So Madonna does all the things that most mortals can't.
Yeah, it seems that way. Do you have any idea what I don't how many times have you seen the show?
Uh, Celebration tour?
Yeah.
Just the one. So I'm gonna see
Okay.
her twice on this tour.
Do you remember like when the guy when she's on the cube and the dancer comes
Mhm.
and picks her up and then like puts her on the thing,
Mhm.
he like gives her some like weird mechanism where she like drinks from it. Is that just a water bottle, but like a futuristic looking water bottle?
It's probably just a water bottle, yeah, because she just probably needed hydration. Because I do remember that. I think I have a picture of that
But it's a very
somewhere that I
weird,
took.
like it almost looks like some like weird, like I thought it
Unless
was
it
like
was the microphone. Well, but she drank.
yeah, she sipped on it. It was like a straw, but it was like a long straw. I'm wondering whether it was just because it was Ray of Light and bedtime stories that it was like this weird contraption that they did instead of it being like just a bottle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's really
I
funny.
don't
Like,
know.
but I love how many layers this show has. Like little moments that you're like, oh, they did that because of that, and that's a reference to that, and that's a reference to that, and oh my god, wow, they thought about that. Like like she's wearing the gold tooth, and then she's wearing the hard candy boots, and then she's wearing,
Mhm.
she's doing the boxer thing, and then she's,
Well,
and
yeah,
then
like nothing really matters. She had the glove and it had the ohm symbol on it.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's just there's so many like they said, it's not just the songs. It's also like their Easter eggs. Like there's snippets. There's costumes. There's little details.
yeah. My two of my designer friends worked on some of the bitch I'm Madonna costumes. Like
Mhm.
all the dancers, like, and like before the tour started, my one friend showed me like a picture of the sex book release party, like Heidi dress.
Mhm.
And I was like, "Oh my God, you helped make that?" Like, yeah,
It's
that was pretty
amazing.
exciting to see. And supposedly they have like some like little like pieces of fabric that they're like saved for me in like a little box or something.
Oh, that's
That's
cool.
pretty cool. Yeah. Um.
Yeah, one of my I worked at this past Halloween. I worked at Spirit Halloween, and my boss, I guess one of his girlfriend's friends, like helped with like the wigs and the hair and stuff on the tour. And I was like,
Nice.
oh my god, that's amazing.
Yeah. My Carlos is he's our friend now too, but Carlos's friend Luis
Yeah.
is one of the dressers for one of the dancers. Well, he worked on
Hmm.
the Madame X tour as well. Um,
Yeah.
that's pretty wild because actually he was like the first night, I think the first show, he was like texting Carlos like when she was about to go on so that we knew like how much longer. But supposedly she's like not even at the venue. She gets dressed at home.
Oh
She
my
shows
god.
up. She shows up to the venue, does like a 15-minute workout, and then puts the dress on and the crown and then comes out. Like she's like a wild like maniac animal that like shows up. Well, I guess just in New York that work, happened. Or
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, maybe in other towns, she's already in there. But like supposedly she like shows up dressed in like with the bra and the skirt.
Yeah.
That's how she shows up, and then she like does a workout to get hyped up, and then she like puts on that gown. They fix her makeup. That's so crazy. Like
Yeah.
I guess that's why
Well,
she's
I mean,
late.
if it's in the town that you live in, that would probably be easy enough. But I
Like how
mean,
how late was she? With I know I hate that question, but how late?
she's not late. No, I know. She started at like maybe 10:05,
Oh, that's
maybe
not,
somewhere in there.
that's perfect. That's exactly
Yeah.
when you should start. Yeah.
I mean, it's not like it wasn't Madam X, like in Chicago. Madam X, she started, I think, at 11, but it was worth it. She played, and we got out at like 2:30.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, but this whole late business is just, and everybody sends me things, and they're like, "Oh, did you hear?" I'm like, "Shut up, shut up. She's not late." I like when I was in Cleveland at like we got there at 9:30. No one was in their seats. Everybody was milling about. They were talking. They were, in line for the bathroom, for drinks, for merchandise, whatever. She's not going to start the show if nobody's in their seat.
Yeah,
And I don't know
exactly.
if half these people have they ever been to a concert? Because most concerts don't start at 8 o'clock. That's old people time, unless they're seeing like, Patty LaPone at like a dinner theater or something.
Well, I mean, to be honest, like Janet started like really soon after the ticket said. Like,
Oh, wow.
she had Ludacris as an opener. I'm trying to remember. Did the tickets? I think the ticket said seven. I don't know, even remember what Janet's ticket, but I know it wasn't. It wasn't very long
Yeah.
after Ludacris. But also, and I tell people, I go, Janet's set was like nothing. There were four dancers.
Yeah.
There's a screen and some lights. It wasn't like all these moving parts and all these,
Yeah.
visuals and cameramen and this and that and things to check. It's like it was just Janet dancing to the same choreography that she danced to,
Yeah.
for 40 years.
Yeah. It's a
That's
lot.
another thing. Like,
So,
that's another thing that I can't. Like, it's amazing that every tour, like, she literally redoes choreography for every song. Like, it's never like the only thing
yeah.
that stays the same really is "Don't Tell Me" because it's kind of iconic.
Yeah.
And Vogue has changed every single time.
Hmm.
You know, Express Yourself changed every single time. Like it was the
Yeah.
army thing and reinvention. It was disco moment in Girly Show. Girly Show was my first show, so that's always sacred to me.
Oh God, I would have loved to seen that. See, I wanted to go, but I was in California, and I was like, I'm gonna go see her on this tour, and then it was like, oh, only 3 U.S. dates. Cool. Never mind.
I didn't know that back then. I didn't know that she only did a few U.S.
Yeah.
dates. Really, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, this is just Madonna Girly Show tour, blah blah blah. Because I was too
Yeah.
young to see Blonde Ambition. I was old enough, but too young to like afford it or have anyone take us. I think we almost got somebody to take us, or something fell through with the tickets. Um,
Yeah.
but Blonde Ambition would have been cool to see. But I love that my first show was Girly Show. It's always sacred to me.
Yeah. I love. I mean, like I said, Drown World was my first tour, but like the first time seeing her was like at Roseland Ballroom, so it was just wild. Like there was, just small intimate show, and
Yeah,
it's
that's pretty wild.
weird that like the first time seeing her, like we met her before the show started, so like by the time the show started, like I vaguely remember the show. But they were
Oh,
like,
that's
okay,
funny.
well, they're like, go out there and enjoy the show, and like we wandered out into the sea of people, and I was just like, I just met Madonna, and I was like, so I couldn't think of anything else, and I was like,
I
this
wouldn't be
is
able to
like
think of
a
anything else
dream
either.
sequence. So
Especially
it's
that
like
young. Like, what were you like?
yeah,
20
I was
something, right?
22.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, so it was just, and it was my first time in New York, and it's my first time, like, I think that was the first time I ever been on a plane because growing up, my
Wow.
mother was afraid to fly, so like I was very kind of sheltered. So that was like my first taste of, oh my God, there's a whole world out there.
Yeah,
See, it's all Madonna's fault, and thank
everything's Madonna's
God.
fault.
Yes, it is.
I love
Uh,
Madonna, the name of your podcast. It's such a funny name. It's perfect though.
well, that's why a lot of people are like, I don't know. They're like, I don't. It's a Madonna podcast. What am I going to talk about? I'm like, it's whatever. It's just, it depends on who I talk to. Like, I talk to a
Yeah,
lot of
obviously,
like
you and I know each
queer
other because of
horror.
Madonna.
Yeah, so like obviously you're gonna go with what you're connected through, but like I talk to a lot of horror people. I've had like tarot readers. I've had all sorts of different people. So it's like, and even when I don't bring it up, people do because they want to know about the name. They want to know about like why I'm into her, and so it just. But it's my life and how it kind of does revolve around her. And I mean, it started because during the pandemic, I started writing a book about my just my autobiography and my childhood trauma and trying to figure that out. And so that's where the name came from.
Ah,
My
gotcha.
friend Rick, my friend Ricky, who's in New York, he does a Rick Retreat podcast, and he came up with the name because I was on his show and I said, maybe someday. And he's like, well, what would you talk about? I'm like, I love Madonna. I love Halloween. I've been writing a book about trauma. And he just goes, Trauma Madonna. I'm like, cool.
That's awesome. That's
That's how
perfect.
that was born. And I keep saying, because like I pretty much mention Ricky every episode, so I'm gonna have to give him residual someday.
That's
So
funny.
if I ever make money off of this shit, I'll have to throw him some.
Just for mentioning him,
But
yeah.
yeah, but that's the thing too. It's like if this doing this has been very therapeutic, and if it ever gets to the point where it's not fun or it's like a task, I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
So I just get to talk to so many different people, so many cool people, and just like, I get to learn their stories, and we get to, discuss a lot of things that are important to them and to me, and equally. So that's what's been really neat about it.
Yeah, you get to talk about, you get to share your own personal story at the same time. You still there? Uh-oh. I'm still on. I think